All right. Danny says, yes, we're good. So again, thank you. I've already thanked you 13 times. I appreciate you guys' time being here. I've been with ISI for a few months, and when I first kind of came in, I was really just amazed by what was being built here, right in my own backyard. I didn't know about it, but the second I showed up, I was like, I need to be part of that group. I reached out to Ted. I said, hey, I'd like the opportunity to speak at some point if it's available. And I think at the time the speaker list was out to like December or January. I was like, all right, no problem. I'll wait. And God obviously had different plans. So there's a reason why this slot opened up, and I'm here today, and hopefully we can plant some seeds, and you can hear my story, and I appreciate it. Also, before I forget anything, I love you guys. I don't think we do a good enough job in general, both in this group, in society, anywhere, of men looking each other in the eye and telling you I love you. That was going to be my big opener, and then Tracy stole my thunder 2 weeks ago and told everyone I loved him, and it almost means a little more coming from that guy. So you get both sides of the spectrum here. So the general outline and agenda of what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to talk about, kind of give my life story, tell you guys who I am a little bit more, kind of expand that, and then I'd like to tell you about a program called Mighty Oaks. Mighty Oaks Foundation is an amazing program. There's actually flyers in the back. I encourage you guys to all check it out, and I'm going to go into that in a little more detail. And then after that, discussion questions, give you guys a challenge, and then what my life looks like after Mighty Oaks. So Brandon Bettis, born and raised here in Arizona, born into a Christian family. My parents met in a church, and good childhood, no major trauma. My parents did divorce when I was about 10, and that was probably the most significant thing as a child, but nothing really major, kind of crazy to go about. I went to Arizona State University. I was actually in the ASU marching band. I'm a band nerd. Don't make fun of me. But I met my wife in the band. I met my wife my sophomore year, and we were dating about 3 months, and I told her, I said, I'm going into the Army when I graduate. This was post 9/11. It was about 2002. So not an insignificant thing to tell someone you're dating. Either foolishly or unfoolishly, she stayed with me. We've been together 19 years now, married for 14. We have 2 beautiful daughters. Absolutely. See, I even forgot my slides. Hey, Danny, can you go back to the first slide? There we go. There's everybody. Advanced through my military career. I was an infantry officer. The day I got commissioned, I proposed to my wife. So we've been an Army family the entire time. We had my daughter right after, about a year after we got married, and then 6 months later, I went to Afghanistan. So by the time I got home from Afghanistan, my daughter was about 18 months, and I'd been around her for about 4 months. So that anyone in the military knows that kind of struggle a little bit. I went to the Korengal Valley in Afghanistan. At the time, it was called the Valley of Death. It was literally the most kinetic place on the face of the planet. I loved it because that's what we signed up to do. We signed up to blow stuff up. We signed up to close with and destroy the enemy, and business was good. And came home from Afghanistan, and looked at my wife, said, what do you want to do now? She said, let's stay in. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and we weren't really sure what to do, so we stayed in the military. We had another daughter, blessed with another daughter, Kennedy, and did a company command, and then I got to go serve in the Old Guard, which was my dream assignment. It's a ceremonial unit up in D.C. Really kind of a cool history of it. Most people, if you haven't really heard of it, it's the Tomb of Unknown Soldiers. I was not a tomb guard. I got to do all the cool stuff behind the scenes. My mom got really mad because they would do a lot of stuff on TV, and she's like, when do I get to see you? I'm like, you'll never see me on TV. I do everything on the background. I was an operations officer up there, but just really kind of fun, cool assignment. And about that time, I kind of looked up and I said, okay, I've done everything I wanted to do. I got to deploy, got to blow a bunch of stuff up. I did command, got in the Old Guard. My family's starting to suffer. It's time to get out. So we left active duty and moved home to Arizona. Again, I told my wife, I said, all right, you followed me for 10 years. Where do you want to go now? She said, let's come back home. And we've been here since 2016. But at that time, for me, it was more of a, okay, what do I want to do when I grow up? Kind of a little bit of a crisis here. All I wanted to do was serve my country. And then I fell in love with financial services. I fell in love with it through personal experience of learning about money, teaching it to my soldiers. And I was able to kind of have that career and just help other people. I still felt like I was serving, and that's That's what I've done since 2016. I'll probably never do anything else. I love the job. I love helping people and learning. Then in 2018 or 19, right before COVID hit, we became financially independent. What I mean by financially independent is I'll never run out of money. And that's a weird kind of feeling, especially when you're 38, 39 years old. And especially as a financial advisor, it's kind of a weird feeling as well. And life's going good. So, we were very blessed. I don't say any of that to brag. Sometimes it feels like it. It's a very Facebook type life. Happy, beautiful family. To kind of recap, beautiful wife that loved me. 2 kids that were happy and healthy, beautiful. 2 careers that I loved. And I didn't have any worries in the world. But I wanted to die. I wanted to die on a consistent basis. Perfect timing. I have a tattoo on my right bicep of my daughter's names that I got in haste in 2015, right before when I was getting out of the military, because I knew that if I was ever holding a gun to my head, that'd be the last thing I would see, and it might buy me one more day. One of the most frustrating parts about that is I could never pinpoint it. I could never pinpoint why. I couldn't pinpoint childhood trauma. I couldn't pinpoint combat trauma. I couldn't pinpoint anything that was wrong with my life. But I didn't want to be here. And I was smart enough to not do it. But I wasn't strong enough to stop thinking it. And so I started getting help. I was getting help my entire life. Early on, so these thoughts have been around since high school. And so the fact that I've had this life with this holding over my head was a testament to my resistance or my resiliency and stubbornness, really, because the way that I would pull myself out of that dark pit would be to go chase something else. I would chase a career, I would chase a promotion, I would chase my family, chase something. And I had run out of things to chase. I didn't need anything else. I didn't need money anymore. Like when I was in the military, I was chasing a career, I was chasing a promotion, I was chasing a mission, I was chasing something else, I was chasing an award. When I left the active duty, I was chasing clients, I was chasing the next call, I was chasing the next account. I had a goal in front of me, and I was chasing financial independence. I was like, okay, my motivation will be to provide for my family. Well, now everything's checked off. Everything was done. And so I was like, man, there's nothing else holding me back. And I knew it might have been one day. One day I might have a few too many drinks. One day I might see the opportunity to slam my car into a tree. One day I might, whatever. And I used to always think about my legacy and say, okay, I don't want to be a statistic. I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to give my children a reason to have a worse life and have that hanging over their head. So I was always fighting to change it. That led to the VA, led to mental health, led to counseling, it led to some sinful behavior. I was trying to fill a hole in my heart. And continuing to look for a solution led me to a program called Mighty Oaks. Next slide, please. So Mighty Oaks, what is Mighty Oaks? Mighty Oaks is a peer-to-peer resiliency and recovery program that focuses on America's warriors. So raise your hands real quick, and please keep them up if you are a veteran or first responder. Keep them up. Thank you, guys. Now, raise your hand if you know a veteran or a first responder. All right, thank you. Should be everybody here. So please pay attention to this. I wish this program was a little more well-known, but that's my primary goal today, is to let you guys know about this program, because it saves lives, it changes lives. It's the reason we're all in this room is because of iron sharpens iron. We believe in that philosophy of men helping other men. So when you think of Mighty Oaks, the Mighty Oaks is the SEAL Team 6 of ISI, which is ironic because there's actually a couple team leaders that are former Navy SEALs. It's a fantastic program that really, no cost to the veteran. Anyone is available. If you're a veteran or a first responder, when I say first responder, police and fire, that is able to go to these programs. And it's a week-long program in beautiful locations donated by fantastic families and organizations. It's on these ranches. It's a way to kind of take a step back from the chaos of your life. Whether you're out or if you're active duty or you're still serving, it's a way to take a week and focus on you. And I could go all day about the miracles I've witnessed there and the program and what they're talking about. But imagine this, but it's for a whole week. So we're not worried about mic issues. We're not worried about whatever. You're talking to a guy at night. You're breaking down walls. You're taking off that mask. And that community, it's not special. I mean, it is, but it's not special in the sense of what they're struggling with. But sometimes it is, because sometimes it's more extreme. Sometimes more extreme trauma. It's still the devil. They're still fighting the devil no matter what. We're all fighting it. But that community comes together quickly because we have something in common. And we speak the same language. So in my search for answers, I was looking at different programs, various programs. I still have no idea how I found Mighty Oaks, how I filled out the application. I actually later on went back and looked, and I'd filled out the application in 2016. So when I was coming off active duty, I filled out the application, but I didn't attend until last year. And because of COVID and timing, I was supposed to go to one location in California, and then I ended up going to a place in Ohio. I was scheduled to go. They paid for everything. They paid for the flight and had me booked to leave Monday morning. I took the week off of work. My wife was supportive of it. And all I knew is that it was a veterans program that helped with PTSD and depression. So Friday afternoon, I went to the website and said, hey, I'm about to go spend a week in Ohio. Sorry if I say it with like disdain. I'm an Arizona State fan. So I'm about to go to Ohio for a week, and I'm like, maybe I should check out to see what Mighty Oaks is. The first thing I saw on the website was faith-based. And my heart dropped. So I was an atheist. I didn't believe in the Bible. I was a smart, educated, worldly man, and I did not believe. So I called them up. I called up one of the gentlemen. I sent an email. I said, hey guys, I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm an atheist. Use this slot for someone else. Use this for someone who it's going to work for. I don't want to take your money. I don't want to take your time. Like, use this for someone else. There's probably a laundry list of people that can benefit from this. Use it for someone else. And they didn't flinch. They said, we know. We saw it in your application. You're welcome. You're welcome here, and we ask you to be respectful, and we'll probably be able to teach you a thing or two. We can give you some tools in your kit bag to be able to help you out with life. And so I attended, and I was nervous the entire time. I was scared the entire time. I was expected to be like just beaten with a Bible and having oil thrown on me, and they were just gonna preach to me all week. And that didn't happen. It was honest conversations. It was mutual respect. We had a common language, a common bond with the military. But it was a way for me to kind of reflect and kind of go through everything. And part of the programming is, we emphasize everyone's carrying around a rucksack. Everyone's carrying around weight. And that's your week. That's your time to be able to drop that. Drop it there, learn some tools, then go back and build up your legacy. And so on Thursday of the program, it's a Monday through Friday program. On Thursday, they allow students to give a testimony. It's not mandatory, but it's a way to stand up here in front of a bunch of strangers you met 3 days ago and talk about whatever you want to talk about. And it's really powerful. And so I gave an expanded testimony of a little more details of my life and a couple different things. And at the end of it, one of the students asked, "Are you still an atheist?" And I said, "Yeah," because I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say I'm not if I don't truly believe. The next day, the last class, the last day, a class called Money and Possessions. And in this class, one of the slides that they talked about tells a story in Mark 10, 17 through 27, about the young rich ruler that goes to Jesus and says, "What does it take to get into heaven?" And Jesus loves him and says, "Sell everything you own and give it to the poor." And the young man goes away sad and broken and sorrowful because he had a lot of possessions. And that started to stir a few things. So right after that class, we go into what we call a reflection walk. And the reflection walk is an hour alone in solitude, in reflection, in peace, to go think about everything that we talk about that week and what life is going to look like when you go home and you leave Mighty Oaks. And so I set off and I started walking, and for the first time in my life, I was kind of talking and praying and kind of just walking. And I started walking up this hill, again, middle of nowhere, Ohio. It's a nature conservatory on a lake, beautiful location, humid, muggy. Just started walking up this hill. They said, hey, don't go past the road. There's an old country road. So as I'm walking up, and I see the road, I see a truck drive by. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to pass the road. I'm going to go left or right. Off to the left, there's a nice body of water. Off to the right, there's a thicket of trees. In my mind, I'm going left. I'm going to go sit by the lake. I'm going to talk. I'm going to think. I'm going to reflect. Everything's going to be awesome. As I start getting closer, I could see a small path off to the right. And then there's no path to the left. And in my mind, I'm like, this is the first sign. I've been asking for a sign for all these years. God's finally giving me a sign. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to go down that path. There's going to be a thicket of trees. There's going to be a feast. There's going to be angels. It's going to be awesome. Life's going to be great. God's got a sense of humor, right? Started coming up as I get closer and crest the top of the hill. My path, my walk, my sign from God, my miracle was about a 10-foot gravel path leading to a power box, essentially a dead end. And I stood at that side of the road and just cried. I cried harder than I've ever cried in my entire life. Because I was lost. I was broken. In my mind, I was like, this didn't work. Nothing's working. Nothing's working. And eventually composed myself and kind of sat by the side of the road and prayed, continued to pray a little harder. As I'm sitting there in the middle of nowhere, a car drives by and pulls up. He says, hey man, you doing okay? You're sitting on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. You okay? And I remember talking to him. I was like, thanks for stopping. I promise you I'm okay. I don't need any help right now. At the time, I did feel that. I was like, I don't need any help from anyone else. This is between me and God at this point. And I kind of wish I would have asked his name, because it would have been Jesus. I probably would have had a heart attack or something. So he went away, and I continued to pray and think. I had a little piece of paper with some jogging questions on it about the week. And nothing was really happening. And then I went back to that question of, would you sell everything for Jesus? But again, my answer was still no. And I started thinking about my family. I started thinking about my daughters. If my daughters needed life-saving surgery, and before the surgery, the doctor came out and said, hey, the bill for this operation is everything you own. I wouldn't even blink. I'd sign over everything. I'd take the clothes off my back and give it to him. How about your wife? Yep. I'd give up everything for her. It wasn't until I reframed that question in that sense that I finally believed. On May 21st, 2021, about 11 a.m., I believed. It's almost my birthday, guys. You believe that? I'm going to be one. So that is my testimony and my kind of story about that. And next slide, please. So now, a challenge. So the third part of my story, in my kind of talk and agenda, if you will, is what's life after Mighty Oaks. And so for me, it's been a wild ride. It's been fun. It's been just powerful to learn and to change and to figure out what God's plan is for me. Because God had a really cool plan for me up until that. And that's been I'm like, God, I was taking credit for everything you've done in my life. I was selfish. I was taking credit for it. When I finally repented and gave up control of everything to him, he changed it tenfold. And so what does life look like after that? Well, first is with the family, trying to help my family. Because it's not very often that your dad goes away for a week as an atheist and comes home a Christian. Like that's like, hey, welcome home. We're going to church, everybody. The first time my children went to a church service was the day I got baptized. So I think about that legacy. I think about what I can do with them now. And it's not over. We're still chipping away at it. We're still working it. But I've seen enough evidence since then to know that God is in 100% complete control. So I continue to ask, what is my purpose? And he's shown me snippets of it, and I kind of feel like I know what my purpose is. That first slide, what my official title that's on my any sort of publication is Director of First Impressions. It's kind of a weird way of saying it, but it's for the financial services part of it. It's a compliance piece, blah, 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 blah. But it fits. And I've embraced that role. I've tried to embrace that role when I'm out in the community, when I'm out playing hockey, when I'm out doing something with someone. It's trying to make some sort of first impression, because my goal is for someone to see the change and say, there's something different about you. What is it? And now I get to share the gospel with them. And I've already seen evidence of it, of friends coming and being able to share a testimony. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to do this and why I dress fancy, because this video I'm going to send this to every single person I know. Like, here you go. There's the answer. It's not money. It's not success. It's not the promotion. It's not anything else. It's Jesus. The second discussion question I have up there, and the reason I do actually really enjoy it, is because, again, money is a hard issue. Jesus talks a lot about it. It mentions it over 2,000 times in the Bible. A quarter of his sermons are on money and possessions. We know it's a hard issue. So I always ask, whenever I mentor a transitioning service member, a military young man or woman leaving the service, I always point that question of, if money were no object, what would you do and why? And the why is the more important part about that. Like, what are you going to do with your life? And even guys in this room challenge you. The Bible doesn't talk about retirement. There's no retirement. So what are you going to do? Once you get to that point where you have what you need, and when is enough, what are you going to do with it? Another thing, the way I kind of flesh that out with a lot of military folks, and this is just general advice for them. One of the pieces of advice I got when I was leaving the military is they said, there's three kind of main factors: is location, job satisfaction, and salary. If you can satisfy 2 out of the 3, consider it a successful transition. And that goes for young men in the room, if you're leaving college, or if you're moving, or even if you're snowbird or retiring, or whatever it is. If you can kind of focus on those areas, it just kind of helps form the picture. Because we're all asking the question, right? We all go about life and be like, I don't know what to do next. Where should I go? What do I do? But trying to narrow it down, I enjoy that question. I like that. So it might be a good discussion question. And then finally, what will your legacy be? My legacy could have been something very different. My legacy could be something very different. God's not done. I don't know what that will be, but I trust that He's going to provide. So I challenge you guys to really craft it and look at it and pray on it and ask, and then go. Take a step forward. Move. March. March or die. March or die. Gentlemen, I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else that I had. The Holy Spirit usually goes and works. I always have a script and an outline, and sometimes I never know where it goes. So I think I'm good on time. I don't know if I am or not. I don't really care, but we're going to go. And listen, I appreciate, again, I love you guys. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and thank you.